Your phone probably has an FM radio, so why can't you use it? A lot of cell phones have FM radio receivers built into them, but there's a good chance that you never knew about this. Why is that? I know this one. iTunes and Google Play Music, right? The National Association of Broadcasters, or NAB, has been trying to get manufacturers to enable this feature for years, but unless you download an app like Next Radio, chances are that you don't have access to FM radio on your phone. It's even less likely that you'll be using it anytime soon if you have an iPhone later than the 6S, because Apple no longer includes the capability in their latest models. Who cares? Well, if a disaster strikes and you lose cellular service, you might. This point was brought up by Dennis Wharton, the VP of the NAB, and surprisingly, this guy agreed. And suddenly, I'm suspicious. Our buddy, Pi, went on to say that, quote, carriers make more money from customers who use more data. After all, if you're paying by the gigabyte, it's pretty easy to use a good portion of your data through music streaming services. And this is exactly why carriers don't pressure manufacturers to enable the FM chip by default. That's up to us, and how do we pressure manufacturers to do anything? Apple will release a new and cheaper iPhone by July, according to a report. That's the title of this article, according to a report. Maybe all news should start out that way nowadays. According to a report, this. Now no one can complain because, hey, that's just what some report said. The iPhone SE2 is supposed to be about $450, designed for people who don't want a big screen or live in a market where buying a premium Apple device is not a real option because they cost too much, especially when you're supposed to get one every year. The current SE, aka iPhone 5S with a 6S motor under the hood, starts at $349, which is $200 less than the iPhone 7. As of today, you can still get the 6S starting at $449. So presumably, we'll be looking at a $100 increase for the most affordable iPhone available next year, but most likely running a faster processor designed for iOS 11. And this time we may see manufacturing take place at the Western Corporation in India. Speaking of, Apple's supplier Foxconn says that it will stop using illegal intern labor in its Chinese factories. Yes, this is the same company that brought you the Foxconn suicides. In 2010, there were reportedly 18 attempted suicides, resulting in 14 deaths that year for the company responsible for assembling products for brand names like Apple and Hewlett-Packard. Most of the deaths resulted from workers throwing themselves off of buildings, apparently as a result of labor abuses. Now, there was some controversy around this shocking information, so it's worth researching both sides of the story. But one thing we discovered from all this tragedy is the disconnection between consumers and the methods employed to produce the devices that they find so valuable. At this point, if we discovered that phones were made from unicorn blood, sales probably wouldn't suffer much. Apple has also caught some heat in the past after the Chinese mining company Huiyu refused to apologize for using children as young as 4 to mine cobalt, which is used in the production of lithium-ion batteries. According to Business Insider, 6 students aged 17 through 19 told the Financial Times that as interns assembling iPhone Xs at Foxconn, they were regularly scheduled or required to work 11-hour shifts in violation of Chinese law. Wait, so if they were interns, does that mean they weren't even getting paid to work these 11-hour shifts? Wow, if that's true, this makes it even worse. Apple is said to have responded with stating that it was dedicated to ensuring everyone in our supply chain is treated with the dignity and respect that they deserve. It continued, we know that our work is never done and will continue to do all we can to make a positive impact and protect our workers in our supply chain. I guess that's how a legal team advises you to respond to these types of accusations. This has to be one of the greatest websites I have seen this month. You know those annoying emails you get from the deposed king of Nigeria's nephew, or the winning lotto announcement from the UK that needs your help getting the funds deposited into your US bank account, but you have to send them money in order to initiate the transfer? Or someone wants to buy your car on Craigslist, but they're going to send you a check for more than the asking price, and then you have to Western Union the difference. Okay, hopefully you already know that these are all scams, but beyond getting annoyed and wasting your time, and constantly updating your spam filters, there's not a whole lot that you can do about it, right? Well, now you can. There is a website where you can submit the scam email and a sophisticated artificial intelligence will take over on your behalf and continue the conversation with whoever is on the other end. What's the objective here? Well, pretty much keeping them occupied for as long as possible so that they invest their time talking to a computer instead of bothering real people. They waste your time, you waste a lot more of theirs. Go to the site when you have a chance and see how it works. The conversations are incredibly realistic and entertaining. They publish some of them on their website so you can see what it's all about at rescam.org. There's also a YouTube video you can watch. I'll put the link down in the video description, along with the sources for all of the information contained in this video. Google collects Android users' locations even when the services are disabled. If you ever point out the fact that smartphones track users' locations, a lot of people will tell you to simply turn off the location services or just disconnect from the network altogether, right? You know, a while back, I noticed something very interesting about my navigation app. It's called Waze. And when my SIM card was not inside of my phone at the time, and this is a Galaxy phone, it was not connected to Wi-Fi, not connected to any cellular network, but I was still able to use the navigation app. Now, some of the functionality was gone as far as estimated time of arrival, traffic updates, and advertisements, but the phone was still tracking my location as I drove. Now, at first, this seemed like a bonus since it meant that technically you didn't need to have any sort of service on your phone in order to use it as a navigation device. But think about what that means. According to a company called Quartz Media, Google has been collecting the addresses of nearby cellular towers from Android phones even when location services are disabled. That meant Google was watching at times when you would not have expected them to. Remember when Apple was creating maps of everywhere you went, and a lot of people kind of blew a circuit over that one? Apparently, Quartz contacted Google, who confirmed this practice has been taking place for the last 11 months, but now they have decided to cease, and by the end of November, you shouldn't have to worry about this anymore. See, and they all thought I was crazy. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, there might be some people out there who don't want their locations constantly tracked. A few that I can think of: law enforcement officials, victims of domestic abuse, and anyone being stalked would be a place to start. Probably also a lot of people who are up to no good, but privacy is a double-edged sword. By the way, Google said that the data was used to further improve the speed and performance of message delivery, but it was immediately discarded and has been updated to no longer request cell ID. So I guess that means that for the time being, they still know where you are, just not who you are. There are strange videos on YouTube causing some concern among parents. These videos feature familiar animated characters like the Hulk, Spider-Man, Elsa from Disney's Frozen. So what's the big deal? Well, not everyone is in agreement that there really is a problem with them, but they are somewhat strange. The storylines can be unusual by adult standards, but that's often the case with cartoons. At the same time, they add in surrealism, nursery rhymes, and an occasional bizarre combination like baby doll heads onto an otherwise typical cartoon character, and some people find these creations creepy. Well, doll heads are kind of creepy on their own. So the big question seems to be what the purpose of this animation style is and whether or not it causes harm to children in some way. The titles can be a little weird too. For example, Wrong Eyes, Avengers, Superheroes, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America for kid fun videos. Sounds like an obvious attempt to rank a video by using superhero keywords, but Buried Alive Outdoor Playground Finger Family Song Nursery Rhymes Animation Education Learning Video does sound like something you might want to think twice about letting your children watch. Check them out for yourself and let me know in the comments what you think. Now, why am I talking about weird YouTube children's videos? Right now I'm working on a collaboration with another creator about what parents should be concerned with when it comes to kids being on the internet. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon and you'll get a message next time I publish a video, hopefully, unless they come up with one more hoop that you need to jump through to make that happen. Please don't do that, YouTube. It's complicated enough already. I'm Mike from Go Cell Phone Repair, and that's 10 Minutes of Tech. Every Monday at 2 p.m. we talk tech and phone repair live on YouTube. This week I'll be in the field, so I'm not even sure how that's going to work, but we shall see. Until then, happy holidays, and I'll see you next time.